Man arrested and charged with arson in connection with Los Angeles Palisades Fire. Los Angeles. Authorities have made an arrest in connection with the Palisades Fire, a significant wildfire that ignited in a Los Angeles canyon earlier this week, prompting evacuations and drawing a large emergency response. According to officials, the suspect, identified as Alexander Yegian, 34, has been charged with one felony count of arson of forest land. The arrest was announced by the Los Angeles Police Department in conjunction with the Los Angeles Fire Department. The Palisades Fire was first reported on Monday in the rugged terrain of the Sullivan Canyon area, near the Pacific Palisades neighborhood. The fire threatened multi-million-dollar homes and required a substantial deployment of ground crews and water-dropping aircraft to prevent its spread. While the blaze burned over 400 acres at its peak, firefighters have since reported significant progress, achieving 50% containment by Wednesday. Evidence and investigation lead to arrest. The investigation into the fire's cause led investigators to Yegian. Law enforcement officials stated that evidence, including witness statements and video footage, placed the suspect near the point of origin of the fire at the time it started. The specific details of the evidence have not been fully disclosed, as the investigation is ongoing. Court records indicate that Yegian is being held on $250,000 bail. It was not immediately clear if he has legal representation. The swift arrest underscores the serious legal consequences associated with wildfire ignition, whether intentional or through recklessness, especially in a region like Southern California that is perpetually vulnerable to destructive wildfires. The efforts of firefighting agencies to control the blaze are continuing as the legal process against the accused individual moves forward. Expanded factual context, the Palisades Fire arrest, and broader wildfire dynamics. The arrest of a suspect in the Palisades Fire is a critical development, but it exists within a larger framework of fire science, legal precedent, and regional risk. Here are additional facts and information related to the incident. 1. The ecological and geographic context of the Palisades area. High-risk fire zone. The Pacific Palisades and the surrounding Santa Monica Mountains are classified as a very high fire hazard severity zone by the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, CAL FIRE. The terrain is characterized by steep, rugged canyons covered in dense, native chaparral. Chaparral ecology. Chaparral is a highly flammable vegetation type. It contains oils and resins that allow it to burn intensely, especially during the late summer and fall when moisture levels are at their lowest. This fire season has effectively become a year-round threat due to persistent drought conditions in the American West. Historical precedent. This area has a history of significant fires. The 2021 Palisades Fire burned over 1,200 acres, destroyed multiple homes, and required the evacuation of nearly 1,000 people. The recurrence of major fires in the same region highlights the persistent and cyclical nature of the wildfire threat in Southern California. 2. The legal framework and potential penalties. California arson law, Penal Code 451. The charge of arson of forest land is a felony under California law. A conviction can carry severe penalties, including incarceration, a sentence of 2, 4, or 6 years in state prison if the act is deemed reckless. If the act is willful and malicious, and it causes great bodily injury or an inhabited structure burns, sentences can be extended to 5, 7, or 9 years. Financial liability. A convicted arsonist can be held financially responsible for the full cost of fire suppression. For a fire that required hundreds of firefighters, aircraft, and equipment over several days, these costs can easily run into the tens of millions of dollars. The 30-30-30 rule for fire weather. Investigators will likely analyze the weather conditions at the time of the fire's ignition. A critical threshold for extreme fire behavior is the 30-30-30 rule. Temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius 86 degrees Fahrenheit, humidity below 30%, and wind speeds above 30 miles per hour. Conditions meeting this rule significantly increase the likelihood of a fire starting and spreading rapidly. 3. The role of fire investigation. Determining cause. Wildfire investigation is a forensic science. Investigators from agencies like the LAF's Arson/Counterterrorism Section and CAL FIRE work to locate the point of origin, often by tracing burn patterns back to a specific location. They then search for evidence of ignition sources, which can include discarded matches, electrical lines, campfire remnants, or incendiary devices. Collaborative effort. The arrest of Alexander Yegian was the result of a multi-agency investigation, a standard practice for major incidents. This typically involves local police, fire department investigators, and sometimes federal partners like the U.S. Forest Service or the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, which is specialized fire research laboratories. 4. Broader implications for wildfire management. The human factor. According to research from the National Park Service, nearly 85% of wildland fires in the United States are caused by humans. Causes range from power lines, equipment use, and discarded cigarettes to campfires, and, in a small percentage of cases, intentional acts. Community preparedness. Incidents like the Palisades Fire reinforce the importance of community-wide fire preparedness. This includes defensible space, mandated by state law. This requires homeowners to clear flammable vegetation and materials around their properties to create a buffer zone for firefighters. Evacuation planning. Having a go bag and a predetermined evacuation route is critical for residents in wildfire-prone areas. The Urban Wildland Interface, WUI. The Palisades is a classic example of the WUI, where human development meets undeveloped wildland vegetation. This is one of the most challenging and dangerous areas for wildfire management, as it directly threatens lives and property while posing immense risks to firefighters. Suspect arrested in connection with Palisades Fire. Los Angeles authorities have arrested and charged a man with arson for the Palisades Fire. The suspect, identified as Alexander Yegian, 34, faces one felony count of arson of forest land. The fire ignited earlier in the week in Sullivan Canyon, burning over 400 acres and threatening homes in the Pacific Palisades area. Firefighters have since achieved 50% containment of the blaze. The arrest followed an investigation by the LAPD and LAFD, which used evidence including video footage to place the suspect at the point of origin. Yegian is being held on $250,000 bail.